Hello, 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 Christmas Flixers. Welcome back to season 6 of Chicks on Christmas Flicks, where we can never have too many Christmas movies. We can only have not enough Christmas movies. I'm KL Brady, and I am so glad to be back in the saddle again in my regular routine. I can't even tell you what a joy for it is for me to record the show. And I mean, I feel so actually relieved to be able to get back on a normal schedule again. It has been entirely too long. But my schedule, I'm starting to get it somewhat normalized. Still a little bit of craziness going on at work, but not nearly to the extent that it was maybe a couple of months ago. So, that's a blessing. That's all I can do is count that all a blessing. Listen, one of the things that I have, even at work, like, I don't know about you guys, but I have to deal with some insane personalities sometimes. And you don't understand, like, all the time, like, where the insanity is coming from. You just know it's like a movie's running and you've stepped in the movie like midway in, and you don't know what happened at the beginning of the movie. You just know whatever's going on at this part of the movie is insane, and I don't know how I got here. I don't know if you guys have dealt with that, but I have dealt with that so much at work. And once I do a little research, I realize people are going through some really difficult times right now. Some really, really difficult times right now. Whether it be divorce and the relationships, whether it's work, whether it's finances, because of all the things going on in the economy right now, and people are struggling. And I just want to say this, like a little reminder, that I hope that listeners to this show don't have to be reminded of this, but I wanted to just remind you, like, be gracious when you can, be kind and be gracious when you can, because you just never know what somebody is going through. You just never know. So, quick story. So I recently had to work with this woman at my job, at my 9 to 5. And let me just tell you, she's awful on any scale. Like, if you met her in person, you'd be like, you are just a rotten human being. You're just rotten. She would have discussions with me, and she would come with this negative energy every time, and always just be combative about things. And I was like, what in the world? Like, I'm literally sitting on the meetings and in these calls with these like crinkles in my forehead, because I'm like, where did all this come from? I don't even know. Like, I'm checking myself. I'm like, am I coming to the meeting with this energy, and that she's feeding off of me? Like, what's going on here? And so, you know what? I have one of those personalities where I can get along with anybody, or I cannot get along with everybody, right? And when I choose not to get along with you, then I match your energy, or I exceed your energy, your negative energy. So if you want to give it to me, I can give it right back. But I'm telling you, it's awful. I know it's one of those things that the Lord is really working on me, because I can match energy pound for pound, right? I will let it rip and give no mercy, right? So she was really about to experience the angry black woman for real, like the angry one, the one that would have gotten me fired, right? But something in my spirit just said, stop with all this. That I didn't know what was going on with her. I knew this anger could not be coming from me, because I literally just would sit down and say hello. And I would be catching like all this fire, like dragon fire, for me just sitting down and being present. And so I said, whatever is causing her to behave that way clearly was not because of me and because of our interaction. It was because something that happened before me, something that could have happened immediately before our meeting or weeks before our meetings, and it was just kind of coming to a head or whatever. I don't know. But something personal or internal was causing her to act that way. And so rather than meet her energy and match her energy and give her probably the treatment that she deserved, right? I decided, you know what? I'm just going to back off. And I played nice. And I played nice just to finish up the assignment that we had to finish up and get off of it, and vowed never to work with her again. That was simple. And when I say played, I mean I played nice. Let me tell you something. I could have gotten an Oscar for my performance in working with her. But I met her combativeness with compassion. Now here's a funny story. So while she was being combative and I was trying to be nice, the Lord does not like ugly. So come to find out, in the time that she and I would sit down and meet, she actually fell down and hurt her leg somehow. And it wasn't serious, like it wasn't a break or anything, but it was a sprain or something, and she had to like keep it elevated during the day so she wasn't able to move and get around and stuff. So in the middle of her like being combative and all this, she would tell me about these like personal things happening, including this foot. Now I could not help it. Again, the Lord's still working on me, but in my mind, I'm thinking, ha, that's what you get for being so nasty, right? In my mind, I know I shouldn't do that, right? My heart, I should have been compassionate or whatever, but I was like, you know what? God don't like ugly. And the thing is, I don't think that she will ever connect her leg, her foot with her behavior. Like me, I would immediately. I know I get immediately corrected for stuff. Immediately. Nothing passes. Within minutes, I will get corrected. I would have known, look, I was acting ugly, and that leg, that foot probably was a result of my correction, of getting me to realize, yeah, Carla, that was really ugly. But I don't think she will ever like make that connection. Anyway, so anyway, I would like to tell you, okay, that she became a better person because of our interaction, but I can't. I really, I just can't. She was awful all the way through the end. All the way through the goodbye, even to the point of like telling her boss to tell my boss how awful I was and that I was plotting against her and all of this stuff. I mean, just insanity, just pure insanity. Like, first of all, I outrank you. I have no reason to plot against you. What reason do I have to plot against you? I have nothing. Your world doesn't even intertwine with mine. I have nothing that you do has an impact on what I do. So I don't understand why I would go through all of that trouble. Why would I put all that energy into being, undermining her when she literally has no impact on anything that I do? It was crazy. So I would, like I said, I would like to tell you she became a better person because of our interaction, and because of the compassion that I showed her, and because of the empathy, and because I played the actor. But the point is not really that she becomes a better person. The point is that I become a better person because of it. Because once again, you just never know what people are going through. And it can make you a better person by showing compassion, by recognizing that that negative energy is coming from somewhere that has absolutely nothing to do with you. Nothing. So, this is just a word to say. You never know what people are going through. Just because you see happiness and calmness on someone's facade, it doesn't mean that they're not, going through hell in other parts of their life. It doesn't mean that at all. And sometimes the best thing that you can do for someone is just be kind. Be the better person. And know your reward is in heaven. It's not here. Just know that your reward is in heaven. There's not going to be any certificate that you get. You're not going to get a 21 gun salute because you were kind. You're probably not going to get any kind of immediate reward. But let the kindness be enough. Let the reward for kindness be enough, in that you feel better about yourself. Okay, and you become a better person. Know that person might never become a better person. They might never recognize your kindness to them, and that's okay. Anyway, so I just wanted to say that because it was on my mind because of the crazy lady at work. So, anyway, I have got so much news coming today about the 2025 Christmas movie season. So many movies are coming out, so much Hallmark news. I've got Hallmark news, I've got Great American Family news, I've got a bunch of other movies that I don't know where they're going to be placed yet, but they are in production. And let me tell you something. I was so excited when I saw the news about a Sopranos reunion on Hallmark. And there's going to be some Hallmark interaction with the NFL and Major League Baseball. So that and lots of other news is coming up. Stay tuned. Okay, stay tuned. Before I get to the 2025 movie news, first things first, St. Nick shout-outs. As always, in the beginning of the show, I like to shout out listeners. You know that's my favorite tradition. You guys, can you believe I am 6 seasons in? Can you believe I've been doing this show now? And I'm 6 seasons in. I can't even compute that I have remained so committed to doing this show. Not that I remain committed, but that I'm still so excited about it because this tells me and should tell you that I genuinely love Christmas movies. That I genuinely love them, because otherwise, why would I get up at 4 o'clock in the morning to do this show? Other than I love Christmas movies. I truly love them. I truly love everything about them. And yeah, some are better than others, but I truly love them. Anyway, so I'm just thankful for everybody who takes time to listen to the show, whether it be make a time in your busy schedule or making time outside of the show and fit me in somehow. So today I'm going to give you kind of a short versus long version of the St. Nick shoutouts, meaning I'm going to add more locations because I have to shout out all these locations, but I'm not going to give the full breakdown of the entire Christmas schedule. I'll do that closer to in the October time frame when it gets closer to the actual Christmas season. Although one thing I do want to check is what's coming up for Christmas in July. I am actually starting to see the Christmas in July advertisements on Hallmark, and I know there's got to be Christmas in July activities around the country. So that's one thing I will be looking into. And if your town is shouted out on St. Nick Shoutout and you've got some Christmas in July activities, I'm going to find out what they are through ChatGPT. ChatGPT is really good for that. And and I'll both shout out your town and then shout out what your Christmas in July activities are. Anyway, I'm going to give some big love to 9 listeners today. Not 5, but 9. And the reason is because some of these are just my regulars, and some of these are new locations that are listening into the show. And I have to shout out the new locations because I want you guys to stay listening and know that I see you. I see you seeing me, and I want you to come back. So, 9 listener locations. Remember, I don't know who you are, but I know where you live. The first location is Phoenix, Arizona. Phoenix, Arizona, thank you so much for joining the show. The second location is Chico, California. Chico, thank you guys for joining the show. Number 3 is North Liberty, Iowa. North Liberty, Iowa, thank you so much for listening into the show. So glad to have you. Number 4 is Linwood, Washington. Linwood, Washington, thank you so much for joining the show. Number 5 is Canton, Ohio, home of the Football Hall of Fame. Love that. Love that area. Love that location. Love Ohio. My mom is from Ohio, and I lived in Ohio for, I want to say, like 6 or 7 years when I was growing up. I left the DC area to move to my mom's hometown, where I went to her middle school, I went to her high school, and I went to almost 2 years of college at the University of Akron, where I was a Zip. So, yes, I was an Akron Zip, for those out there who didn't know. So anyway, thank you so much for joining the show, Canton, Ohio. I love always to give big shout outs to Ohio. Number 6 is McAllen, Texas. McAllen, Texas, a new location. Thank you so much for joining the show. Number 7 is Grimsby, Ontario. Grimsby, Ontario. Thank you so much for joining the show. Number 8 is Medina, Ohio. Medina, Ohio. Thank you so much for joining the show. And then last but not least, now this one is one of our overseas listeners, is, and I want to pronounce this right, I'm going to butcher this. I apologize in advance because I suck with some of these pronunciations. Nagoya Aichi. And I had to look that up. It's like, where is Nagoya Aichi? That is Japan. So Japan is listening into the show. Thank you so much for tuning in. All right. So, time for Ho 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 holiday headlines. So, some of this is Christmas movie news. Some of this is just Christmas news. And some of this is just stuff I was really interested in that kind of deals with Christmas. So, take it in the spirit in which it is offered. Okay, so the first thing, this is purely my interest. I don't know if you guys have heard about the new Narnia that's coming out, right? So Greta Gerwig is reportedly the director for this, right? And she did Little Women. I watched Little Women. I really liked her version of Little Women. And then she did something. Oh, she did Barbie. She did Barbie, which of course, went crazy. Gotta be honest though, I wasn't loving the Barbie. I mean, I understood it. Don't get me wrong. I understood it. I understood the point. I got it. I got Barbie. I just wasn't in love with it. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. This is probably, so many people just love that movie, just flipped for it. I was not one of those people, and I bought it. I have it on demand. I bought it when it was, when I was just like kind of going off all the reviews and everything, and everybody said it was like, this is, 5 stars, 5 out of 5 stars. And so I paid like 20 something bucks for it on demand, and I've watched it one time. That sucks. Let me just tell you, I was really not happy about that. But anyway, so I like Little Women. Didn't really care for Barbie that much, but I am really anxiously awaiting this new Narnia movie. And so with all the stars and everything in it, like I feel like she just got some really good stars attached to it. So I'm really looking forward to it. So apparently, this new Narnia is going to be in theaters for 2 weeks, and then it's going to be on Netflix for Christmas Day. So you will be able to watch Narnia on Christmas Day. So I'm really happy to hear about that. Um, Now, the next piece of news is going to be, and this is very important to me. I don't know if this is important to you, especially if you're Gen Xers. If I have like fellow Gen Xers out there, you guys are going to be happy about this too. But some of our favorite cartoons from growing up and animated shows from when we were growing up that had left the broadcast networks are coming back to NBC. Three of them in particular. Three of them that I love in particular. Rudolph, remember Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, right? That little animated comedy. It was like claymation, right? That's coming back to NBC this season. How the Grinch Stole Christmas, that was purely animated. That is returning to NBC, and Frosty the Snowman. Do you remember Frosty? Oh my goodness, I bought that whole set for my son. I really did, but I still like to see it on TV. There's something about watching these shows, these classic shows. I'm not gonna call them old shows. I started to call them old, and I was like, no, because that would make me old, and I don't feel old yet. But classic shows that they're bringing back to TV. I feel like there's like community when everybody's kind of watching it at the same time, and we're laughing at the same parts we always laughed at, and all that. Like, I feel a sense of community when things return to like broadcast networks like NBC, ABC, or CBS, right? So I'm happy. I'm thrilled to have those back on network TV. And then you guys know for the past few years, Apple has taken over the Peanut franchises, right? So they have the Snoopy show now, and like all the movies are on Apple, and it's like you have to sign up for Apple in order to watch the movies. But usually they have a set of free days where you can watch the shows, where you can watch the Peanut shows. The Thanksgiving, the Christmas, you can watch those shows, and it doesn't cost you a dime, and everybody can watch it on the same weekend. So whenever they come out with those dates, whenever Apple comes out with those dates about when they're going to show the Peanut movies, I will be the first one to tell you guys about that. Hopefully, I'm hopeful that they will even appear on CBS at some time this year, but you never know. So if it doesn't come on CBS, it'll be on Apple TV, and I will make sure that that I let you guys know what those dates are. Something I'm tracking very heavily. Okay, all right. The next piece of news is around the NFL on Christmas Day. So let me tell you, I love football. I have loved football for a lot of years, decades and decades. My mom was a Washington fan. My dad, still a Washington fan to his heart. My dad lives here with me, and so what normally happens is he'll turn the games on downstairs in the basement. I'll turn the games on, and I'll go downstairs and watch the games with at least part of them. Sometimes it's very hard for me, like, to sit there, especially if like we're struggling or something. But now my dad, like, with Washington, while through the whole Dan Snyder era, which was kind of a nightmare for us. But he watched the games all through those. Like, I couldn't. Like, I watched pieces and parts of the games, but I just couldn't bear it. I can't bear to see us lose. I get emotionally wound up in a ball to watch my team lose. I'm that passionate about the team, right? And I go back with the Washington teams back to like the first Super Bowl in 1983, right? That's how far I go back with them. So, I've been with them through all the three Super Bowls. And then I've been in that period where we have not had any Super Bowls, where we got the new owner and we thought everything was going to be wonderful because this person was a lifelong Washington fan, and then we've been kind of living our nightmares for the last 30 years. So I'm so glad that the franchise has new ownership, that we've got a new GM, that we've got, a new quarterback that we love, Jaden Daniels, and I'm just really excited to watch it. Anyway, so in the fact that they've got this like new life, they've also got like a lot of primetime games this year, and one of them is on Netflix, right? So on Christmas Day on Netflix is actually going to have two of the NFL games. So they're going to have Washington Commanders versus Cowboys. And let me tell you something. Old time Washington fans like me that go back to like 1983, we know about this rivalry. Like these new kids, this generation Z, the millennials have no idea about how crazy this rivalry is between Washington and the Cowboys. But old timers like me in Generation X, we know how much that rivalry means. And so there will be a lot of people like me who can't wait to get to the screen on that day, because that's going to be exciting. So I will be watching the Washington Commanders versus Cowboys. And then the second part of their doubleheader is Detroit Lions versus the Minnesota Vikings. I know I've got listeners from Minnesota, and I know I've got listeners from Detroit, and I know that's like a major rivalry, right? Huge. I think Detroit doesn't like Green Bay, and they don't like Minnesota for sure. Like those are just like, no, they don't like them, right? And so I'm really excited to see that. So I'll probably watch that doubleheader too, in between my Christmas movies. Christmas movies, except for the Washington game, Christmas movies will always take precedent. So they're showing the Washington game early. It's like a 1 o'clock show, right? So at least by, when they have the evening new movie that normally starts about 6 o'clock, I'll have my Washington game over with, and I'll be able to sit and watch the new movies that come on at 6 p.m. So I'm excited about that. And then Chiefs will host the Broncos for the primetime game. So the 8:30 game, 8ish, somewhere in the 8 o'clock hour, Chiefs will host the Broncos. So I'm really excited about that. I love Sean Payton. And he goes way back. And I love Andy Reid. He goes way back. He's an Eagles guy. I'm in the NFC East, Washington. Washington's in the NFC East with the Eagles. So, they're not our favorite. But I think everybody in the NFC agrees. I'm sorry for people who are from Dallas, because there are Dallas listeners to the show too. But everybody in the NFC pretty much agrees. Whether you're from New York, whether you're from Washington, whether you're from Philly, that we all hate the Cowboys. Is it jealousy? It could be. Maybe years ago, maybe a couple decades ago, was probably some jealousy, right? Because they really did. They have some great players. And let me tell you, some of my favorite players played for Dallas. Troy Aikman, Emmett. I loved Emmett. Michael Irving, Deion Sanders, who's now coaching at Colorado. But let me tell you something. I loved players, right? But I would never root for the team. And I will never root for Dallas when they're playing against Washington. And pretty much want them to lose to everybody in the NFC East. This year I may be rooting for them against Philly, though, gotta say. Because Philly won the Super Bowl. So, I think I'll be rooting against Philly this year because they're the Super Bowl champs. But anyway, this is to say, long story short, The NFL is going to be major this year. They've got a lot of primetime games. They've got a lot of overseas games, that they're going to be playing internationally. And they've got some spots on Christmas Day that may interfere with your movie time, if you're a Minnesota fan or a Detroit fan or a Chiefs fan or a Broncos fan. For me, I'm going to watch the Washington Commanders versus Dallas all day. All day. Anyway, moving on to the next piece of news. Hallmark. Oh my goodness. Hallmark. This year will be Hallmark's 16th year doing Countdown to Christmas. Can you believe that? And it is always the number one rated holiday network, right? And they have a ton of programming coming up. So apparently they've got 4,000 hours of holiday programming coming up between, I don't think that counts Christmas in July. I actually think that's just Countdown to Christmas, right? In this content, we've got Holiday Touchdown, a Bill's Love Story, which I will be talking about later on in the show. The 12 Dates of Christmas, which I will be talking about later in the show. And Mistletoe Murders. So check this out. This is one that is on Hallmark Plus right now. I think it debuted on Hallmark Plus. It never debuted on the network. And I have never actually watched this show. So I am going to watch Mistletoe Murders. It stars Sarah Drew. I remember this. I remember that she has some kind of like mysterious past and that she runs a Christmas shop and that obviously there's murder happening around the Christmas shop, which I think this is all based on like a podcast. I've never listened to the podcast, never actually watched the show, but of course I've seen the Christmas news about this. So I think that's going to be one of those things that I report on, if not like this coming week, maybe in the following weeks up to Christmas in July. I'll catch the Mistletoe Murders and let you know if that's something that you should invest your time in watching early on. So I'm really excited, as always, about Countdown to Christmas coming up. And with 4,000 hours, like that's crazy. And so what I did see on the Christmas in July advertisement, I saw that they are having original new movies during July. And I know it looked to me, remember I told you guys in the last show about holidays and how if that weren't a series, it probably would have been easily been my number one favorite movie. Well, I think they're going to show holidays on the network during Christmas in July. Let me tell you something. When that shows, you guys gotta watch that. It is so good. I just loved it. I don't know how they're going to show that because I think it's like 5 weeks. It's like five weeks shows, like 5 shows, like a family per show, maybe 6. No, I don't know. It's more than that. I think there's 8 episodes. What I want to say is I think I remember like 8 episodes, and I know that there are a few kind of setting up the story, and then I think there's 5 families, and they break out the stories between families, and you see how all these families are their lives are intertwined, especially during the Christmas season, and they all have their idiosyncrasies and the craziness that goes on. I'm just, the way they wrote that series is just beyond anything, right? It's probably one of the most well-written things I've ever seen on the network, period. So I really loved that series. I loved the complexity of the stories. I just loved it. So guess what else is coming back? Remember Finding Mr. Christmas last year? that show with Jonathan Bennett. He hosted that reality show where the winner of the show got to star in a movie with Jessica Lowndes at the end of last year. I think it was Ezra who won, right? And who got to star in the show. Where they're doing that show again, my guess, again, Finding Mr. Christmas is going to be finding the guys, and the guy, whoever wins that reality show, is going to get to star in another show, in another movie for the network at the end of the season. So I am looking forward to Finding Mr. Christmas. Now, admittedly, I watched most of Finding Mr. Christmas. I did not watch all of it, and so it was a little bit of a surprise to me to see who won. And when I watched the movie, I knew who won. So this year, though, I do plan to watch the whole thing. And I just got busy. Last year, I repainted all my kitchen cabinets and didn't realize how big my kitchen actually is. I don't really see it as a big. I've been living in this house almost 20 years. And I use the kitchen every day. So I really don't see the kitchen as being that big. But when you're painting and putting new handles on things and, kind of redoing, you get to see how actually big the kitchen actually is. And I actually do have kind of a big kitchen. So I think there was 25 cabinet doors and 15 drawers. That's a lot. That's a lot to paint. And so anyway, because I was doing all this painting and redecorating and all of this last Christmas season, I did not get to watch several movies, including Mistletoe Murders, and I didn't get to watch all of Finding Mr. Christmas. But I've got time now, right? So I got some time back in my life. So during the month of July, that's going to be my catch-up month. During the month of June, that's going to be my catch-up month, where I catch up on all the stuff that I didn't get to see during the Christmas season, including the stuff on BET Plus that I didn't get to watch. And I didn't watch anything. I did not subscribe to BET Plus at all. So I did not watch anything from BET Plus. And so I really do. I want to watch the stuff on BET Plus and rate and review it. So I will be doing all that during the month of June, so you will get good shows. And then, of course, during the month of July, I'm going to focus on Christmas in July, which normally runs on the Hallmark Channel and Hallmark Mystery. And then they usually do on the weekends, they have stuff on Hallmark Family. So we'll see how they do the scheduling this year. But I'm looking forward to that. So once again, just lots of goodness coming out of Hallmark for this holiday season, and we'll just stay tuned for that. Anyway, so let's get into the movies coming up for the 2025 season. I'm really excited about this. So one of the first movies that I saw that's coming up for this season is A Royal Montana Christmas with Fiona Gubelman and Warren Christie, directed by Peter Benson. Now, Peter directed When I Think of Christmas, Time for Them to Come Home for Christmas, Holiday Date, and Royal Montana Christmas is the story of an undercover princess who wants to escape from royal life and ends up falling for a Montana ranch hand. At least, that's what it says right now. We'll see how that evolves, and we'll even see if it ends up with the same name, because sometimes, the names change when the actual Christmas season comes. So we'll see if that ends up the same. The second movie on my list is from the Holiday Touchdown series. So I know it's been all over the news, and it's certainly been all over the NFL news, which is crazy to be watching the NFL and see an announcement about Hallmark. But I watch NFL Network a lot. Some of it kind of gets on my nerves, and so I kind of change the channel. But for that's been my other distraction. It's been been Hallmark, it's been Hallmark Mystery. Sometimes it's Up TV, and a lot of the time it is the NFL Network channel. It's like, those are my safe channels, right? So the things I can watch where, I don't have a lot of nonsense going on. So anyway, I'm really excited about Hallmark with this new Holiday Touchdown movie featuring Holiday Touchdown, a Bills love story. So this will be centered around the Bills organization, the Buffalo Bills. And from what I understand, like, they've got a ton of NFL stars that are going to be in this. Like, they pulled like every championship Buffalo Bills star that they can pull into the movie. I'm talking like Jim Kelly. Okay, we're going back to Jim Kelly, the quarterback, right? Like, he's gonna be in it. Damar Hamlin. Do you guys remember Damar? So Damar, he got a lot of notoriety. I think at the time, Damar was playing for the Cincinnati Bengals, and he had a cardiac arrest right on the field, and they thought he was dead. And turned out like somebody tackled him, and the helmet hit him in a way because he had some kind of like genetic defect that he didn't know he had. It's like a birth defect or something. And the helmet hit him in the chest and stopped his heart. And literally stopped his heart. So he was like died on the field, literally. And they brought him back to life. And now he plays for, so I guess that's all healed and corrected. That was a few years ago. I remember watching that game. And I was like, everybody was sitting there just in horror. We just couldn't believe it. And so anyway, I was glad to see that he's healed. He's obviously healed from a few years ago. I don't know how he ended up in Buffalo. I think he got traded. I don't know. They probably traded him. But that would scare any organization, right? I mean, but thankfully the Bills took him on. This is great. So I'm really excited about the Holiday Touchdown, a Bills love story. So that's supposed to debut sometime between Thanksgiving and Christmas. Normally that's on like the second half of the season. They show the Holiday Touchdown movie. It's supposed to star, so listen, Holland Roden, Matthew Daddario, Tracy Pollan, Carol Aaron, Patty Murin, right? And then this is where we get our Sopranos reunion with Steve Sherpa and Joe Pantoliano. Okay, Joe Pantoliano. Joe played in Santa Stakeout, the Santa Stakeout with Tia Mowry and Paul Campbell. So I'm really excited to see this movie. Now, I will tell you, you might notice that the Holiday Touchdown movie was missing from my top 15 list. And that is because I am probably one of the few people who did not really care for. It wasn't one of my favorite movies, honestly. Holiday Touchdown, A Chief's Love Story, like, that was not one of my favorite movies. And I know that was supposed to be one of the whole, Taylor Swift, Travis Kelce kind of movie representations or whatever. It wasn't exact, obviously. But anyway, they were kind of spinning it off of that. To me, the story wasn't even close. Christmas in the Spotlight was much closer, on Lifetime, was much closer to their story than Chiefs a Holiday story. But they kind of wrapped it in because it was the Chiefs and, there's a popular couple and it's a romance and blah, blah, blah. So, not hating on them for that, but I just did not love the movie. And here's the reason why. I think I talked about this whenever I actually reviewed it during the season. But, there was this constant reminder of the history of, when my grandmother she used to sit in the seat and, blah, blah, blah. And that's why it's really like important to my family history in the movie. And so they just kept driving it into our heads about the history and stuff. Listen, that's a great take. It's a great take. It's a great movie. But, I mean, it's a great motivation, right? But you don't need to drive it into our heads with actual script language every time something happens. It was the repetitiveness of that drove me absolutely insane. I was like, if I hear one more thing about the hat or the chair or anything about this woman's history, I'm gonna punch her and Tyler in the throat. This is how I felt. It was just too much. That's not an acting problem. That is to me a writing problem, right? That's how they kind of thought they needed to kind of build that story, and they just didn't need to build it like that. They could have talked about maybe the history of the family and how important that was to the history and all of that. Maybe, 2 or 3 times in the whole movie, we would have gotten it. We're smart. We're smart people. We would have gotten it. We don't need you to bang it over our heads 40 times during the whole movie. So anyway, that was my feeling. I know. I looked on Twitter. There was a lot of people that absolutely loved the movie as it was. I was not one of those people. And I don't apologize for it. Sorry. But anyway, so I'm really, like I said, I'm really excited. I'm really excited for this Sopranos reunion. I don't know if you guys remember Steve Sherpa. I know most people don't forget Joe Pantoliano because he played on Bad Boys with Will Smith and Martin Lawrence. He was in that movie. I think he was like the police captain or something like that in that movie, in that series of movies. But I loved him in The Sopranos. And then Steve Sherpa, you will definitely recognize this guy from The Sopranos. And you know where I saw him also? I remember seeing him in that movie with Rachel Lee Cook. You know what I'm talking about? The movie with Rachel Lee Cook just recently. It was the mom's movie, the Sisterhood Inc. or something like that, where she was basically the dating consultant for her sister, and her sister took her advice, and it started going really well, but it went really well with the wrong guy, and then it went really south because Rachel, was trying to set her sister up with a person that she thought best for her sister, not the one that her sister thought best for her. That was a good movie, by the way. If you haven't seen it, I'm sure it's on Hallmark Plus. But I really liked that movie, and I really when I saw him in it, I was like, oh my goodness. So I was excited. I don't know if you guys have seen some of those Sopranos. I should back up, because not everybody has seen The Sopranos, and I assume everybody has seen The Sopranos. Like, I have seen The Sopranos. I absolutely loved The Sopranos. Loved that series. Did not love the last show, right? For the same reasons a lot of people didn't love it. But I loved the series overall. It was so incredibly good. It was a little bit gory at times, but it was good. The Good Wife, The Wire, and The Sopranos, all very different shows with very different storylines and very different characters, but all just one thing in common is that they were among some of the most well-written shows that I've ever seen. The next part of my news, number 3 in my news list, is Mistletoe Murders. Remember, I was just talking about Mistletoe Murders. Well, it's coming back for a second season, so I'll be interested to see second season, and if anything comes out about Sarah Drew's secret. I don't know. I don't know what it is. I have no idea what it could be because I haven't watched the show yet. But for it to come back for a second season, it must have been pretty good. So that is one of those things I will be watching in June up to the Christmas in July marathon. Okay? So I'm really excited to see. So here is a word from it. We're thrilled that Mistletoe Murders is returning for a second season. Continued Jocelyn Hamilton, President, Television, Lionsgate Canada. Hallmark has been an incredible partner in bringing this series to life, and it's been such a joy collaborating with a talented team at Headspinner Productions. This renewal is a true testament to the exceptional storytelling, I can't wait to see that, and talent that have made the show. And I love Sarah Drew, so I don't even know why I haven't watched it. Um, the exceptional storytelling and talent that have made the show resonate so deeply with the audience. In the show, Sarah Drew plays Emily, a small town shop owner. She's got a secret past. Because, like, of course she has a secret past, right? And I have experience in living in small towns. Like I just told you guys about earlier, I lived in Ohio, a very small town in Ohio, for a number of years. So in small towns, everybody knows everybody, and everybody's in everybody else's business. I have a really hilarious story. So probably been 2 decades, more than 2 decades ago. So I feel like I can tell you guys the story. So I worked for the FBI for a short period of time, and I mean, not a short period of time. I actually worked for them for a lot of years. But anyway, but it's like I said, it was a few decades ago, so it's been some while. I have a lot of separation between me and the FBI at this point. But anyway, what happens? They do the background investigation. So when I was living in this small town in Ohio, right? Oh my gosh, this is so funny. This is funny. This is absolutely true. This is absolutely a true story. So the FBI came to my town to do the investigation on me, right? To like interview people for my background investigation. And so they went door to door on my block to ask people about me. So when they got to I lived on the end of the block, one end of the block, and they started on the opposite end of the block. That when they knocked on the person's door at the beginning of the block, that person, once they got off the phone, once they, stopped just talking with the guy, that person called my mom and said, "Hey, the FBI is around here asking about Carla. What's going on?" And then they eventually got to my mom's house. And so before they even got to my mom's house, my mom had gotten like 5 phone calls about the FBI doing interviews. That is the most hilarious thing. Obviously, I was in high school. I was in band. Okay, I played the tuba. Like I had like a squeaky clean history at that point. So obviously I got the job, right? But it was just hilarious. That small town living. That is, somebody strange is in town at one end of the block. When they find out, they call. They call. And that news went around the entire town, that day. I had moved from DC to that town in Ohio, right? To Bel Air, Ohio. So I didn't know, I wasn't accustomed to like news traveling that fast. But anyway, funny story to say that I understand the close-knit small town experience 100%. I understand how it is to have everybody in your business 100%. Anyway, so in this movie, though, in the series, though, Emily uses some pretty sharp instincts to try and solve some of these mysteries happening in her small town. And then they have this local detective, which I completely get. Sam Wilner is solving parts of these mysteries too. And his daughter works at Emily's shop. So you've already got that kind of close knit relationship kind of thing where everybody's in everybody's business. So that's one thing that really intrigues me about this series, to see that, to really be involved in that, and embracing that small town environment that I haven't like actually lived in a number of years. Like, it's been a whole lot of years that I've not been there, at least full time. I went back to visit my mom while she was still alive, but yeah, I did not I wasn't soaked in it like I did, well, like I was when I was living there. So anyway, so now you know a little bit about my history, and now especially with small towns, and I actually have written a couple of small town novels that are based around my town, Bel Air. And they're Christmas novels too. So if you go to my website, you'll be able to find those. And so through those stories, I think you'll see a little bit more about how the small town thing goes, at least in my life. But yeah, so I'm really anxious to see Mistletoe Murders. Yeah, that's one of those things that I really kind of hate that I didn't see. So anyway, the next piece of news is around, listen to this, the Jonas Brothers. The Jonas Brothers are doing a Christmas movie on Disney Plus called The Jonas Brothers Christmas Movie. Really inventive title. But I'm actually excited to see this because, we're not talking about the kids Jonas Brothers. We're talking about the adults Jonas Brothers. So I'm really excited to see what this movie is about. There's gotta be some romance somewhere in here. It can't be like I'm envisioning kind of a Christmas, like a lampoon Christmas with romance, right? That's what I'm envisioning. I don't know that that's what it's going to be, but I'm really excited to see that they've got this going on with Disney Plus, and that it is supposed to be coming out in December of this year. So I'm looking forward to that. The next piece of news on my list is the 12 Dates of Christmas. So I think on the heels of their success with holidays, they are now doing another series. And I am so glad, because I hope they have the same writers. This is all I can say, right? I hope it has the same writers. But they're doing another 6-episode limited series based on Jenny Bayless's 2020 book, The 12 Dates of Christmas, starring Mae Whitman. I don't know if you guys remember her. I remember her from The Duff. If you've not watched The Duff, I know she's been in a ton of other stuff, but that's where I remember her first from, is The Duff. And Mary McDonald, Jane Seymour. Okay, Jane Seymour. Did you hear what I said? Jane Seymour. I know she's done things with Lifetime recently, but I've not seen her on Hallmark in a while. I think she did some things for Hallmark like a while ago, but it's been some years. So anyway, this series follows Kate, a pattern designer in Blacksford, England, who joins a holiday-specific dating service to find love. The series aims to offer a fresh take on holiday storytelling. The 12 Dates of Christmas is an aspirational, feel-good romantic comedy blending the nostalgia of the holiday traditions with a fresh take on the perils of modern dating. We fell in love with the idea of our relatable heroine, according to Carrie Stein, the president of Global Scripted Television, Dynamic Television, per Deadline, right? We fell in love with the idea of our relatable heroine venturing into uncharted emotional territory with the help of a Christmas Cupid. Christmas Cupid. Who can resist a Christmas Cupid, right? Hand-picking potential matches and planning 12 magical and entertaining dates with a surprising outcome. The 6-episode series will star Of course, I talked about the first three stars, along with Julian Morris, Toby Sanderman, Nathaniel Parker, and will premiere during the network's Christmas to Countdown to Christmas before streaming on Hallmark Plus. So it's going to be on the network before they move it to Hallmark Plus. So I'm really excited about seeing that movie. That's going to be a good one. All right, so my next piece of Christmas movie news is the McGraw sisters. Now, this is funny. So, the McGraw sisters, Violet McGraw and Madeline McGraw, they're known for their roles in horror movies, but they are making a major departure from horror to an upcoming holiday film. So, the film doesn't have a name yet, at least it didn't at the time that I pulled this news, but it's supposed to start shooting in Las Vegas next month, and it will be combining two Christmas classics, Home Alone and Die Hard. So it sounds like we've got another Christmas action comedy family thing happening, and I cannot wait to see that one. The premise of it sounds great, so I can't wait to see that one. All right. In my next piece of news, a Christmas spark. So you know how Mario Lopez left. I have a story around this. I actually have a story around this. So anyway, a Christmas spark star Mario Lopez. It's going to star Mario Lopez and Ali Corbin. So a Christmas spark is a festive story of a middle-aged litigator who leaves his lucrative career to become a firefighter along with cadets half his age. Mario Lopez said the Bills Mafia was going to help with the crowd shots for the scene. So I guess this is going to be shot in Buffalo, New York. And I read this whole article about how the Christmas movies were shifting from Connecticut, which was like the home of Christmas movies and Hallmark Christmas movies, to Buffalo, New York. Because apparently, like some of the benefits that they got from filming in Connecticut, they're not getting anymore. So they're moving to Buffalo. Anyway, I thought that was interesting. So that's why they're talking about this Bills Mafia that's going to help with the crowd shots for the scene, which is on his second day of filming. The Buffalo News reported that Lopez was expected to be in the Buffalo area for 3 weeks working on the project. So now I'm going to take a quick break, but I will be right back with the rest of my Christmas movie news. Stay tuned.
Now available for pre-order on ebook and in paperback beginning November 1st, the romantic comedy with heart, soul, and a second act, The Nick Before Christmas. Are you looking for the perfect romantic comedy to help you find your calling and renew your faith in Christmas magic this holiday season? Look no further than The Nick Before Christmas, a heartwarming story about one woman's journey to her second act and back to her first love. Nikki Wright is ready to celebrate the big 5-0 for Christmas in July, but a hot flash leads her to a sobering realization. Her life has hit rock bottom. Her successes, the home and the car, feel empty. Her vision board has been a waste of time, her job is unfulfilling, and she's mulling over a proposal from Smith, who she's certain she doesn't like. The best day of her life spirals into the worst. During a near-death experience, a meeting with her guardian angel presents Nikki with an ultimatum. Either go to heaven or return to Earth and find her second act by Christmas Eve. If she doesn't succeed, her future's bleak. Her life will be filled with days no better than the worst. With only a few months to make her dreams come true, can Nikki achieve her second act and rekindle an old flame with Jordan to have the Christmas of her dreams? Nikki Wright has from Christmas in July until Christmas Eve to find her calling, follow her dreams, and figure out if her ex, Jordan, is truly the one that got away. The Nick Before Christmas delivers unforgettable moments of self-discovery and romance. It's an enchanting story of love, hope, and faith that will fill your heart with joy this Christmas season.
And welcome back to Chicks on Christmas Flicks. In the previous segment, I discussed some of the movies coming out for the 2025 season, and in this segment, I am going to continue that. Okay. So, next up, I have a movie called Holiday Hearts. Now, this is going to star one of a former Hallmark star, which is Jen Lilly. You know, I actually really liked her in several of her movies. So Jen Lilly, Kathleen Quinlan, and who I also love, and Michelle Hurd are all set to star in Holiday Hearts, a movie based on Dana Boney's book, A Heart for the Holidays. Aside from an incredible script and star power, Holiday Hearts is the first in a potential trilogy, making this a holiday franchise for years to come. Lilly told Northern Virginia Magazine in November. Northern Virginia, I mean, like, Northern Virginia is for where I live. Like, that's in the DC area. Is she from Northern Virginia? That's interesting. The film focuses on themes of second chances, charity, and love, which are perfect for the holiday season. My work in foster care and philanthropy adds extra depth to my connection and love for this film. So that is from Jen Lilly. That will be on GAF this Christmas season. The next piece of movie news I have is regarding a movie that was filmed in the downtown area of Port Hope. And the movie is called Once Upon a Christmas Crown. Once Upon a Christmas Crown. So it sounds like it's going to be another royal type movie that's coming up. And then in Connecticut, where I said now it's kind of, they're shifting those movie operations from Connecticut to Buffalo, but apparently they've still got some stuff going on in Connecticut. So a Connecticut company is shooting Hallmark's Newport Christmas film, Newport Christmas. This film, and they were shooting it in Erie and Niagara counties in New York. And that's based on casting call information, right? So, you know, they're calling out for, or trying to hire the cast, and probably some of those extras, and so that's how the news got out about that movie. And then check this one out. This one, this is a piece of news I actually loved. So another sequel, possibly in the works, is Biltmore Christmas. Now, Hallmark's not said anything about a possible Biltmore Christmas sequel, but it could happen. It could happen. So it turns out that a Jonathan Frakes fan who took a picture with him and shared it on social media, the fan wrote, "Just spoke to Jonathan Frakes, right? He told me that Hallmark wants to make another Biltmore Christmas movie. They just contacted him about it. There's been issues with flooding in the Biltmore Hotel, North Carolina, where the movie was filmed. So apparently they're interested in it, but they've been having some flooding issues. So I really hope that they come out with that movie. Of course, I love Bethany Joy Lenz. I love Christopher Palaha. That was, I think, one of my favorite. I know it was one of my top 5 favorite movies that year. It was so good, and I love Bethany in pretty much everything she does. She's my Christmas best friend in my head. I haven't had a chance to say that in a few episodes, but I'll say it now. So I'm really excited to see if that actually comes out. And then my last piece of news for the day is the Timeless Christmas card. So the Timeless Christmas card is supposed to show on GAP, Great American Family, Great American Christmas, right? TAC. The Timeless Christmas card follows a hardworking woman who is assigned the task of selling her grandmother's old greeting card shop. However, she unexpectedly finds herself transported back to the store's prime in 1945 alongside its charming manager. As they navigate this unexpected journey through time, they must work together to protect the store's legacy, secure the future, and perhaps discover a spark of romance along the way. The cast, as well as the creative team, remain under wraps for now. Now, it's under wraps, yes, but I do think I distinctly remember seeing that this movie is going to be on GAF. That it is a GAF. But it's so funny that that news kind of came up after I got the Biltmore Christmas, because the whole time traveling thing, the Biltmore Christmas thing, like there's some similarities there. It's not the same, obviously, but there's do seem to be some similarities there with that time travel thing and all of that. So it'll be interesting to see more details about that movie as they come out. So I will be tracking that. So that is going to do it for today. I promise you, I have so much more news. I could not do it all in one show, right? So like you're probably gonna have episode 2 and 3 coming out with all the movie news that I have going on, including another Hallmark series that is going to get another sequel, and a new Amazon Prime movie coming out, and some news about another Hallmark star who left the network for a time, possibly making a return. And we can only cross our fingers that they will make a return for Christmas movies. Let's keep our fingers crossed. Anyway, that is what's coming up in the next show. So please stay tuned. Keep your phones up and ready for the next podcast to drop. I'm so excited to talk about all that Christmas movie news with you guys. All right, so that's going to do it for today. Like I said, stay tuned. Lots of good stuff coming. Thank you to my music and show editor, Will B. He created all the custom music for this show. He's at Wildcard Music, and you can find his ID page in the show notes. Until next time, remember, at Chicks on Christmas Flicks, we can never have too many Christmas movies. We can only have not enough Christmas movies. Please don't forget to subscribe, leave a review on your favorite platform, and tell your Christmas movie loving friends about this show. Where can you find us? So happy you asked. I'm on the podcast platforms, all of the big ones: Amazon, Apple, Spotify, Google, iHeartRadio, and many, many more. You can find the link in the show notes. You can follow the show at Chicks Christmas Flicks on Twitter and IG. Thank you for listening in, and I will see you later on this weekend.